And I think that there's a sense of like a clear story of a group of elite people that are getting away with the worst crimes that could have ever been done, and that there's a cover up. And if Trump's participating in that cover up, it's bad for his brand. That's my contention.
Yeah, I think that's and if it gets bad enough, then he has to blame somebody. And that's really where this could have value. It's not I don't think it's going to scare any voters away from Trump. But I do think that it could create pressure on him enough where he would be worried about that, where he has to throw somebody under the bus, which could be really inconvenient. But even the problem with throwing her on the bus on some level, though, is that there's clearly something there. And I don't know how they satisfy the desire for it other than like, I don't know, he starts a war. But here is Ron. I mean, honestly, like at one point, he'll do something to change the narrative. But here is Ron Wyden, the Senate Finance Committee. This is fascinating stuff because there is an element to this Epstein stuff that is not as sexy in some respects, literally, but like, or rapey, but it speaks to the elite stuff. Like, how did this guy amass his money? What was going on? How did this dude who was a substitute teacher end up hobnobbing with all these people? It wasn't his talent or his conversation skills. There was something else going on. Here is Ron Wyden on the Senate Finance Committee yesterday.
Last year, the Biden administration allowed our investigators to look at portions of the file. We did that at the Treasury building. Here is what it says. Treasury's Epstein file details, Mr. President, 4,725 wire transfers. Let me repeat that. 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Mr. Epstein's bank accounts. If you ask me, that is more than 4,000 potential lines of investigation right there. Hundreds of millions more flowed through other accounts. That's even a lot more to investigate. The file shows that Mr. Epstein used multiple Russian banks, which are now under sanctions, to process payments related to sex trafficking.
I imagine those banks were also used for a lot of other things, too. It really does raise questions. I think but just my experience is always just sort of like they are usually hiding something other than what people think it is in these situations. And that the exposure is to other things that we're not supposed to see. And Besant has apparently been stonewalling a lot of these questions for a while about the finances. And who knows where the next sort of like break in the dam is going to be.
It's interesting that Wyden is the guy doing this because his father, Peter Wyden, was a journalist with really good sources. He wrote one of the first good exposés on the CIA's involvement with the Bay of Pigs planning and fiasco. So if there's somebody who has sources on the Democratic side of the aisle, it would be, I think, Wyden.
And things like, some of the Times writes here, some of the Epstein money transfers disclosed in the report from JP Morgan Chase involved accounts at 2 Russian banks before those institutions were subjected to U.S. sanctions. A few transactions red flag were for as much as $100 million. And it's interesting that Wyden would be on that given his background because of, the claims about intelligence and things like that. But we still don't even know how Epstein made his fortune. He went from high school teacher to a guy that was responsible for basically billions of dollars in transactions, and he was managing the money for one particular person for around, what, 20 to 30 years?
An enigma.
It's the American dream.
Yeah.
Real gamin, if you know what I mean.
The bootstraps guy.
Real gummy.
The secrets we will share.
I'm going to trust my friends in the government.
Hey, for weeks, all we've heard is how Trump's big, beautiful bill will cut Medicaid. But almost no one's reporting on a buried provision that would make Trump untouchable. Go to ground.news/majority to see how this bill would block judges from enforcing court orders, unless you, the citizen, post a bond first. Highly credible sources warn most people can't actually afford to do this, and that's pretty obvious. So if this bill passes and Trump violates the law, it wouldn't even matter, and nobody even knows, which means the GOP's flood the zone strategy is working, and it's why I think Ground News is the best tool to expose these blind spots before it's too late. My partners built the only app and website pulling in news from across the globe, then breaking down each source's bias, credibility, and the news the right tries to bury. And considering most people take the first article they see online as fact, their browser extension is essential. What it does is it flags the source's bias and links other credible reports to verify the information. Ground News is a better version of how we're already staying informed. So I got you 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan that I've been using. That's just $5 a month when you go to ground.news/majority, scan my QR code, or redeem the code majority if you're using the app. With at least another 4 years of this, they're counting on you to be distracted. This app is how you stay focused. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.